Beruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem to get on Daf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph, 6 lines from the top. The Gemara brings back a previous statement in regards to when Yontif and Shabbos are next to each other. For example, Yontif comes out to be on Erev Shabbos. Says the Gemara Gufa, Rav Yehuda makes the following statement: Eruv beraglov biyom rishon, ma'arev beraglov b'sheni. If a person made an Eruv with his presence, called an Erev Baraglov, on Erev Yomtiv, the end of Thursday before Ben Hashmoshes, he came to that area where he wanted to then make Shvisa, and he would like to then also extend that Eruv for a second day. He must come back the second day, again on Erev Shabbos, to then renew that Eruv. Eruv bepas bayom rishon, ma'arev bepas bayom sheni. Rav Yehuda goes on to say, if he made the Eruv with a pas with bread on the Erev Yomtiv, then he wants to renew it. He must then go ahead and make an Erev with pas the second day as well. Erev b'pas barishon ma'arev b'ragla b'sheni. If the first day on Erev Yomtiv he made the Erev with pas, then he can go ahead, if he ate that pas, he can go ahead and then make the Eruv ayidei, his presence, what's called Eruv b'raglov. Erev b'ragla barishon ein ma'arev b'pas b'sheni. But when it comes to making Eruv with his presence on Erev Yontiv, then he cannot go ahead and make an Eruv b'pas for the second day. Why, says Rav Yehuda to explain? Because she'en ma'arvin b'tchilas b'pas. Because you cannot make an Eruv beginning with pas, meaning to say, that will then require him to make a new declaration, and that'll be a problem of hachana from Yontif to Shabbos. Ask the Gemara, Erev pas yom rishon, ma'arev pas b'yom sheni. Are you going to say that making an Erev on pas b'yom rishon, that will not preclude him from making an Erev for the pas on the second day? Hooray! That will also be a problem of hachana. Answers the Gemara, no. Omar Shmuel u'ba'isa pas. We're talking about the same pas, and since it's the same pas, he just comes back the second day before Shabbos, and he places the pas that is the same pas that he used in the first place, and therefore it does not require a new declaration, and there's not a problem of hachana. Dekanami, Gemara says we can medayik this from the Mishnah. Masnisin diktoni. Keitzad hu oise. How does he then go ahead and situate the two Eruvin? Malicho barishoin umachshich alov v'noitloi uboloi. He sends a shaliach to then take pas, put it in the place of shvisa. That shaliach remains there until after chashecha. Then he takes that pas with him and he brings it back. Basheni machshich alov v'oichlo uboloi. Then on Erev Shabbos for the second day, he brings back the pas in the same place. So we see over here, it's the same pas, just like Shmuel had taught us, whereby he will not have to make a new declaration. And therefore there's no problem of achana from Yontif to Shabbos. V'Rabbanan, and those who argued on the statement of Rav Yehuda, namely Abai and Rabbi Bar Chanan, who say that even if you make a declaration, a kriya shem of an Eruv, it's not considered to be a hachana. So what will they say about this? Answers Gemara, Dilma Hasam Eitza Toiva Kamash Malon. There, they're saying it's an Eitza Toiva. In order for you not to have to then matriach yourself to prepare a new pas for that Eruv for the second day, therefore, it's advisable to take the Eruv that you used already on Erev Yontif to be used for Erev Shabbos. But indeed, if one needed to then use a different pas, even with a new Kriya Shem, it would not be considered to be a problem of hachana according to these Amoraim, Abaye, and Rabba Bar Chanin. The next Mishnah again deals with a situation when you have 2 days of Kedusha, but here we're talking about when you have 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, one after the next, 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. What is the din in regards to then making Erev Techumin? Can you make two separate Eruvin or not? Background on regards to then the normal situation of being Kiddush HaChodesh, the month is renewed based on the renewal of the the renewal of the moon, and therefore, in a general situation of Rosh Chodesh, they would have either a month that was 29 days or a month that's 30 days. A month that's 29 days is considered to be chaser. It's called chaser. A month that is 30 days is called a month that is either mu'ubar or it's molei. Al Kapanim, when they would then have Eidim that would come to the Beis Din in Yerushalayim to be made, if they would come on the 30th day, then they make the previous month 29 days, what's called chaser, and the 30th day they would bekadesh the chodesh, that would be Rosh Chodesh. If, however, the Eidim would come on the 31st day, then the 31st day would be kodesh, and the 30 days before would be a month of malay or me'ubar. That's on a situation of Rosh Chodesh, whereby once they are mekadesh the chodesh, then they would send shlichim, they would send agents to go and tell everybody else in Eretz Yisrael when the Rosh Chodesh was Chal. That would then be Koveya, the calendar. So for example, if it was Rosh Chodesh Nisan, they would know that on Tes Vav is going to be Pesach. Those where the Shluchim cannot get to, because it's beyond the area where they'll then arrive to. So then in diaspora, they would take 2 days as being Sveike de Yoima, and making Yantif for 2 days. So they would make Pesach for 2 days, not just for 1 day. That's in regard to regular Rosh Chodesh. But on Rosh Hashanah, it's more complicated because Rosh Chodesh is on Rosh Hashanah itself, the beginning of the month. And therefore, since there, when the Eidim would come, there would not even be enough time to tell the Bnei Eretz Yisrael that the month was renewed, and that's Rosh Hashanah. So even outside of Yerushalayim, even in Eretz Yisrael itself, they would keep 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. And even more complicated is Yerushalayim itself, because even in Yerushalayim, if Eidim did not come yet on the 30th day, they didn't know whether they will still come or not. So they would then require 2 days of Yantif, of Rosh Hashanah, being 2 days even in Yerushalayim. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Oimer, Rosh Hashanah, Shahaya Yarei Shomayim, Yarei Shema Tisaber. On Rosh Hashanah, the person is standing, for example, on the 29th day, will be on the 29th day, and he's now concerned, is it going to be then the next day that Eidim are going to come, or even the day after? He's concerned maybe it'll be Me'ubar, that the Eidim will only come the 31st day, whereby both days will then be Yantif, will be Rosh Hashanah. So, what does he do? He needs to make an Eruv so that he can go to one direction on the first day, and he can go on the different direction in the second day. Says the Mishnah, Ma'arev Adam Shnei Eruvin. He then places 2 Eruvin. Voimer makes the following declaration. Eruvi Barishoin La Mizrach, Ubasheni Lamarav. He says, if indeed the first day Eidim will come, it'll be the 30th day, and that day will be Rosh Hashanah. So my Eruv will be Chal for the Mizrach for the first day. If, however, they do not come on the 30th, they come on the 31st, then the Eruv will be Chal on the second day. Barishoin Lemariv, or the opposite. He says, on the first day, if Eidim would come on the 30th day, making that Rosh Hashanah, then it'll be Chal on the Mariv, on the west. Basheni Lemizrach. And if they don't come until the 31st day, then that second day will be then an Erev to be Chal in the east. If, however, he only wants to go in one direction, so he makes the following declaration. He says that my Eruv that it will be for the first day will be the 30th if the Eidim will come, then that will be an Eruv for the first day. But if they don't come until the 31st day, then I don't want it to be Chal. I want that I should have the same Tchum as the rest of the year. Eruvi b'sheni ubarishon kivnei iri. Or the opposite. He makes the Eruv assuming that maybe the Eidim will only come on the 31st day, whereby he'll have then the 2,000 Amos where he places that Eruv. And he says the first day, if they would come indeed on the 30th day, then he wants that he should have the same tchum as the city. But the Chachamim disagree. They argued on the shita of Rabbi Yehuda. And they said you cannot make two different Eruvin for two different directions. You'd have to make an Eruv that will go then towards the same direction. V'oid Omar Rabbi Yehuda, and further, Rabbi Yehuda stated, because of his shita, that indeed we have two different days of Kedusha, therefore we can make two different Eruvin. It also has other ramifications. Masne Odom al kalkalkola b'yomtiv rishon v'oichle b'sheni. If a person has a basket of tevel where trumas and maasros are not taken out of this basket of fruit that was tevel, so he makes the following declaration. He can say that on Yontif Rishon, on the first day of Yontif, he says if the first day is going to be Yontif, then the second day is Chol, whereby he's saying that the second day he's going to then mafrish Trumas and Maasros. And then he does the same thing for the second day. If the day before is going to be Chol, then I was mafrish Trumas and Maasros then. And V'oichle b'sheni eats it the second day. V'chein beitza shenolda. Barishon toichal b'sheni. The second, if indeed a beitza was noilad on the first day, so then he says then that the first day is on the assumption that something that is kodesh, then the second day he can go ahead and eat the beitza. If, however, the first day was chol, then it doesn't have any problem whatsoever. On the second day, certainly he can be able to then eat it because it was noilad on the first day on chol. So therefore, toicha b'sheni. So either way, he can eat it on the second day because of his shita that there are two different days of kedusha over here, and he can make it t'nai that one day, if this one's kodesh al safek, then this will be then the day that it was noilad, whilst the second day it would already be chol, and it won't be a problem of the kedusha. Whereas if the first day was chol, then when it was noilad on chol, and certainly won't be a problem to then eat it on Yontif the next day. And again, the Chachamim disagree with Rabbi Yehuda because they hold it's going to be one kedusha. Rabbi Doisa ben Horkanos Oimer ha'oiver lifnei hateva b'yontif shel Rosh Hashanah. A person who goes to be the shaliach tzibur, and he stands to be the shaliach tzibur in front of the Aron HaKodesh, to daven for the tzibur on Yontif of Rosh Hashanah. Oimer, he should state Hachalitzenu Hashem Elokeinu as Yom Rosh HaChodesh Hazeh. The word Hachalitzenu either means save us or it means strengthen us. Different Mefarshim explain different ways, but Al Kopanim, he uses this lashon that we should say Hashem strengthen us or save us on Yom Rosh HaChodesh Hazeh. He states it's Rosh Chodesh, and then he also, according to this opinion, says you have to make a t'nai and say im hayoim im lamachar, if today is Rosh Hashanah or if tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah. Ulamachar huoimer im hayoim im emesh, if today is Rosh Hashanah or yesterday was Rosh Hashanah. V'lo hoidu l'chacham, and here the chacham disagree on both points. Number one, we don't state that there's such a declaration that Rosh Hashanah is also Rosh Chodesh. Included in Rosh Hashanah is Rosh Chodesh. We don't have to declare that's Rosh Chodesh. And number two, we don't make a t'nai and say if today is Rosh Hashanah or if tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah or today's Rosh Hashanah or yesterday was Rosh Hashanah. Ask the Gemara right away, man loy hoidu loy. Who is the opinion that we call the Chacham who do not agree with the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda? Again, Rabbi Yehuda states that you can make, for example, two tchum in different directions, because he holds that there are two kedushos over here during the Rosh Hashanah. We consider it to be 2 days of kedusha, 2 separate days, and therefore he permits to make such a t'nai, to make such an eruv. Whereas the Chachamim is not the same Chachamim as the previous Mishnah. The previous Mishnah had a suffix according to the Chachamim whether it's going to be 1 day of kedusha or it's 2 kedushos. Here the Chachamim hold that it's 1 kedusha. So who are these Chacham? Asks the Gemara. Answers the Gemara, Amarav, Rabbi Yosi, who? This is Rabbi Yosi, the sheet of Rabbi Yosi, who's called the Chacham in this Mishnah. And the reason why the Farshim say that it's called Chachamim here as well as the Chachamim in the previous Mishnah, not stating Rabbi Yossi, because the halacha is like this opinion of the Chachamim. But here we're talking about it's Rabbi Yossi's shita that holds one kedusha. 2 days of Rosh Hashanah is kedusha achas, as it says in the following brisa, the Tanya. Moedim Chachamim Rabbi Eliezer beRabbi Rosh Hashanah shahaya yaresh shema tisaber. The Chachamim over there agree with Rabbi Eliezer, different Chachamim, that in regards to Rosh Hashanah, that in a person, like we said, is standing on the 29th day, and he's not sure what's going to be with the 30th or the 31st day. When will the Eidim come to determine which day is going to be Rosh Hashanah? And he needs to make 2 Eruvin. He needs to go in 2 different directions on the first day, and on the second day, what should he do? States in the Bryce over here, Ma'arev Odam Shnei Eruvin. You can make 2 different Eruvin, even though they're going to be in 2 different directions. Voimer Eruvi Barishon LeMizrach Ubeshein LeMarev. My Eruv will be in the Mizrach if they come on the first day, and the second day it'll be LeMarev. Barishon LeMarev Ubesheni LeMizrach, and vice versa. Eruvi Barishon Vesheni K'mnei Iri, or he does not want that he should then go to do different directions, so therefore he declares that on the first day it should be an Eruv, the second day I want my tchum of the ear, or vice versa. I only want that I should have an Eruv Bichal on the second day, because the first day I want the tchum of the ear as well. Rabbi Yossi Oiser. Rabbi Yossi says it's prohibited because there's only one kedusha. Both days of Rosh Hashanah are considered to be kedusha achas. Omar lehen Rabbi Yossi. Now Rabbi Yossi turns to the shita that we state over here according to Rabbi Yehuda, and states, "Iatem moidim, do you not agree with me? Sheimbo eidim min hamincha ulamala shenoyagin oisa hayom kodesh lamachar kodesh. Do you not agree with me that if eidim come after mincha, after time of mincha gedola, I think it's time of mincha gedola, don't you agree that if they come after time of mincha, again I'm not sure if it's mincha gedola or mincha ketana, could be it's mincha ketana, which is 9.5 hours into the day, as opposed to Mincha Gedol, which is 6.5 hours into the day. And if they come, Eidim come only after that, don't you agree that today is Kodesh and tomorrow is Kodesh? Because now we don't know whether the Eidim will come. So we've been then being Noyeh Kedusha on this day, not knowing whether the Eidim will come subsequently. So therefore, we make the day of declared Kodesh. So therefore, no matter what, today is going to be Kodesh, and the next day is Kodesh. In other words, according to the sheet of Rabbi Yossi, it's one Kedusha. We make it Kodesh. And therefore, it's a Kedusha Arichta. Says the Gemara in Daf Lamed Tes Amud Beis on the top, V'Rabbanon Hasom Ki Heichido Lezul Zebei. It's true, we make the day Kedusha, but not because it's Vadai Kodesh, as it's Yom Arichta of Kedusha. Rather, we make it as Suffolk, and therefore it's 2 different days. Today, we'll say it's going to be a Suffolk Kedusha, the first day, and the second day we'll have it also Kedusha. Why do we do both days Kedusha? Because even if the Eidim do not end up coming, because we're concerned that in the next year, people will then say that the first day is not Kodesh, and therefore even from the beginning of the day, they'll mezalzel and they'll start doing malacha. So therefore we're concerned, and therefore we go lechumra and say the whole day is Kodesh. But not because it's then one long Kedusha. There's 2 different Kedushas. Today would be a Safek Kedusha, tomorrow would be a Vadei Kedusha. 2 different Kedushas, and therefore, according to the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda, like the Mishnah states, there are 3 different nafkaminas. Whether a person can make 2 different tchumim in 2 different directions, whether a person can then make chumas and maisris for one day to the next, or whether a person can go ahead and then eat a beza that was nolda on the first day for the second day, or perhaps vice versa. We can make a t'nai and say then that he can go ahead and then eat it ultimately on the second day as well.